So that's like the sciencey part of it that I read, that I got it. I'm like, okay, I go into these groups. I'm in a bunch of groups like with people, women in menopause, and they're saying, oh my gosh, yeah, I've done all these things. I don't eat anything, and I exercise, and I'm not losing weight, and it's so discouraging, and it's not good for our body. So I came across, and I don't even know how I met this Jen Stevens, and this is where I'm going to give you some of her benefits and then tell you my experience here. So she lists in her book, which is called the Fast, Feast, Repeat, or the Feast, Fast, Repeat. I'll get that all for you. She lists 12 different things, and I'm actually not going to tell you all 12 of them because I'm just going to go through a couple of them. The main thing is it can prevent and reverse metabolic syndrome. And I don't know if you're familiar with metabolic syndrome, but it's a combination of conditions. And these conditions are increased blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess body fat around the waist, and abnormal cholesterol or triglyceride levels. So those are some 4 things that a lot of people just struggle with. But altogether, a lot of people have all of them, and so then that's a bad thing right there. So this feasting or the fasting can help to regulate that. And then my thing is it can either curb, or in early stages of type 2 diabetics, it can actually reverse that disease. And to me, that's my whole goal, is to never become a type 2 diabetic, because there's so many bad things that happen because of that. Now, I don't want anybody feeling like, oh my gosh, I've been that way already for years, and that's not a good thing. Well, I'm not judging anybody, okay? I'm judging myself. But you can also, if you already are there, you can still do a lot for your health. But another thing is that fasting is anti-inflammatory, and we know that disease comes from inflammation. So that helps a lot. There are cardiovascular benefits, brain health benefits. It also adjusts our hunger and our satiety. I can never say this word, but when we're satisfied, it helps with that. So again, there's a 12 of them, and I just downloaded her book on Kindle. So that's a simple way to get it, and you can get that pretty fast if you go to do Amazon. But here's the difference. So when I talk to people and I say, oh, I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I get all the things like, you shouldn't starve yourself, and that's not a healthy way to eat. So I'm going to tell you how I got started. And I went to Jen Stevens with this book. So she has a Fast Start program. It's a 28 days. And people that tell me they've tried intermittent fasting and it hasn't worked, I always ask them, did you do a Fast Start program? And they look at me like, what is that? Fast Start? Like I fast for a week? No, this is why I love her book, and this is how I started. I decided to do this, by the way, the month of my birthday. I decided I was going to give myself a birthday gift. And so for the month before, I just kept thinking, all right, I'm going to go on this fasting. And I was scared because I do love to eat, and I love to cook. So I wasn't quite sure, but I thought, I'm giving myself a birthday present. And by the way, parenthetically, almost 2 years ago, it's been a year and a half ago, I guess, after I first saw that picture of myself, I decided then that I will never have another birthday cake in my life, because that is not the way to celebrate your birthday, with a lot of fat and sugar. So it doesn't mean I don't ever eat cake other times, but I don't celebrate my birthday with a cake. Anyway, so her Fast Start program, I'm just going to give you kind of an overview of what it is. First of all, she says to use a clean fast. Now, this is really interesting, to do a clean fast. I was just at a presentation last night. My friend is with a company that, they do some health things. And I finished my eating window. I'll tell you about that in a minute, about eating windows. But I finished my eating window, and then I went to this presentation. And so they had some things that they were passing around, to sample. And I said, oh, no, thank you. I already, I'm finished eating for the day. And they're like, oh, no, that's a bother. Oh, you do intermittent fasting? Oh, no, that's not a problem. It is a problem. So if there's one thing that I can share about intermittent fasting, the only thing, that you need to really remember is that there's a difference between fasting and clean fasting. And according to Jen, and I follow her, She said the only thing that you eat during your fasting windows is, and she gives a list of them, all I take is water. That's it. Now, if you're a coffee drinker, you can drink coffee. You just can't add like the sugar or the cream. It just has to be the plain coffee. And I believe if there's a certain kind of tea, but there are also kind of teas that are going to spike up your insulin. So that's my biggest thing for people, is that when you're doing your fasting windows, and I'll talk about like that amount here in a minute, you have got to be clean. You can't even chew gum. Okay, that's another biggie, because when you look at it, once your body has food and it whatever it is, if it's lemon in your water and your taste buds, then your brain starts to tell insulin, okay, she's ready to eat. Get ready to add some insulin. And boy, once you do that, it's like waking up a sleeping baby. That's how I've looked at it. So I go to this thing last night, and they're like, oh no, it's just water with our little product in it, and it's a really good product, and it's healthy for you. And I said, no, I it's going to wake up my baby. I don't want to wake up my baby yet. I don't do that until tomorrow. So that is the main thing, to do a fast start, which is a 28-day program. Okay. And in this time, this 28 days, it's like you gradually go into it, and she teaches you the different windows. So I'm going to explain again what I do. My fasting window starts at about noon. It depends on the day, and that's the other thing. This is so flexible. But I start at noon, and so I usually do a 6-hour eating window. So I want to be finished by 6 p.m. So is that 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I always have to count on my fingers. Anyway, but let's just say that the other day my friend got together. She was in town, and I went to a lunch. Okay, so I ate at 11:30. That's why this is so flexible. I didn't go, well, I can't come to lunch because I can't eat. I don't want to make a big deal about what I'm doing. And so I just went to lunch and at 11:30, so then I wanted to be finished by 5:30. Now, I will tell you, the last couple of weeks, we've had different things going on. We've been traveling, and so sometimes my eating window went a little bit longer. But here's the thing, I just don't give up. I don't go, oh, well, shoot, you know what? I ate some popcorn at 8 o'clock. I don't do that, but let's just say I did. Don't give it up. So we do the 28 day and go into this gently. Now, here's the other thing in that 28 days. Do not weigh yourself, and don't expect to lose weight. This is just kind of like you're getting started. You're just starting that momentum, but you ease into it so much that your body becomes accustomed to it. And that's what I love, is that my body, this is the only time in my life that I feel like I'm listening to my body and listening to how it goes. So there are different kinds of windows that you can do. Some people just do one meal a day. Now, I'm not talking about the Fast Start program, okay? I'm going to let you just refer to her ways, and I'm just wanting to share the information, my experience. So I've been doing the, fasting for 18 hours, eating for just 6 hours. But as I was going through my notes and reading the book again the last couple of weeks, I'm thinking, I kind of want to change it up a little bit. I think our body gets accustomed to it, and then we don't have any progress, and you always want to be burning that fat. I also love that in these books I talk about, your liver and how you don't want to have fatty liver. I thought I had fat arms. Now I got a fatty liver. I don't know. Anyway, so we want to avoid that. So some of those things, but again, back to the Fast Start. So she's going to just ease you into it. She doesn't even want you to change the kind of food that you're eating. So she doesn't want you to go, okay, now I can only have lettuce. No, it's kind of like your awareness. And I think of anything, as I've talked to many people and shared my experience, and they're like, oh yeah, it just doesn't work. Or I tried fasting. It's because they, didn't do research ahead of time. They didn't look at their maps before they went on their trip. And then when they didn't have reservations at a hotel, they were mad. So this is where I really want to encourage you, even if you don't look at my two authors that I recommend, but I really, really recommend. I would actually go to Jen first, because she's like the nuts and bolts. So these are the things that she uses the word fast, F-A-S-T. So first, you got to fast clean. When you're not in your eating window, you don't eat anything. You don't chew gum. You don't put sugar in your coffee or your tea. And then she just talks about, you're adapting. She goes into that, how you're going to settle into that routine, and then you tweak it. So I'm not going to go into those 4 things because she's going to talk to you, but this is what the results that I've had. I get to eat what I normally eat. Now, I love one of her examples was, if you are at the Mexican restaurant, you can have a couple chips, but don't eat the whole bowl of chips. And that's the other thing that the intermittent fasting has been good for me, is because I'm very cognizant now of what I'm eating, and I don't pig out, because I'm thinking, okay, I only have 6 hours right now, or I'm going to try next week, I'm going to try some 19 hours of fasting and 5 hours. I'm going to kind of mix things up a bit. But because I only have a set amount of time, I'm really picky about what I do eat. It's not like, I can eat anything I want to. No, I'm really careful. She also, so you're going to eat what you normally eat in the fasting when you're on this 28 days. And then, of course, you'll start, as I just said, being picky about the kinds of food that you eat. And your body will start to adapt to this. That's what she's talking about, the adapting part. So you eat clean, your body starts to adapt to it. And because of that, that's where the not getting hungry comes in. That's I can honestly say, right now it is 12:30 my time. The last time I ate last night was at 6 o'clock. And I can honestly say I'm not hungry. And so sometime I have to say, okay, you've got to eat. You need to have that fuel. Now also, the other thing that is really beneficial is the flexibility, in that if I do get hungry, if I really feel hungry, or if I ever feel lightheaded, if you feel lightheaded, she said, you've got to eat. But the one thing that Jason talks about is you've got to cut down on your sugar. That was the hardest thing for me, because I love sugar and I love all kinds of sweets. So what I did, just a little hint here, is the things that I know I'm addicted to, I do not eat them anymore. So remember I told you about my birthday cake, that I don't have a birthday cake? Well, my favorite birthday cake before that was the tuxedo cake at Costco. I loved it, but guess what? I ate way too much of it. So that's like off limits to me. There's a couple other things I won't share with you right now. But certainly cutting out the sugar is going to be a challenge, even when you're getting used to this. So what I'm doing is next Tuesday, I'm going to be doing, our Tuesday talk is about how do we cut out our sugar? How do we do this? And I've got some things that really helped me a lot. And so that's going to be our topic next Tuesday. And you can, you'll be getting the links and so forth with that. So let me just kind of recap what we talked about so far. Do your research. Find out the science behind why intermittent fasting works. Understand what insulin does and how our insulin really, it stores fat. If we have too much insulin, we're going to be too fat. And then also understand the other benefits of intermittent fasting. There are dozens of them. And then always start off your intermittent fasting with a slow start, or she calls it a fast start. Maybe you only want to do 2 weeks, but I highly recommend doing the full 28 days. Take it from the people that have done it and follow that. And then you can tweak it to yourself. That's what really helped me a lot. So now I don't get hungry. I'm careful about what I eat. And if I do flub up, then I don't give up. All right? Because that's where we have the problem. And stay tuned to our Tuesday talks, because I'm also going to be teaching you about how you go from a hack to a habit to a routine to a ritual. And intermittent fasting definitely is a ritual. It's one that will enrich your life. It will be that enriched goal. So thank you so much for listening today. And remember, next Tuesday, we're going to talk about how we eliminate that awful sugar, because that is something that contributes to that insulin. It's not good for our bodies. So thank you all for being here today.